had a request to give an example of how a fade in and fade out effect can work when moving from, like, say, one level of a game to another level. I've set this world up and I've placed three objects. I've placed a chicken, a hare, and this object from the shapes class, just a square. Nothing else on the scene. When the world starts, I do some setup with the camera and the square. If you're actually doing this in a game, obviously you're probably going to want to set this up ahead of time, or at least where the user can't see it. What happens here is that I have the camera turned to face the square. That way I know I'm right headed for it. And then I move to get the camera within a meter of that square. By doing that, I zoom right into it so that the only thing that can be seen from the camera's point of view when the square can't be seen through is the square itself. So you can't see any part of the scene. What I do next is quite a trick. I set the square's vehicle to the camera. When you think of putting your body in a vehicle, you go where the vehicle goes, and that's exactly what happens when you set a property, a vehicle property of something to something else. Whenever the camera moves, that square is going to move with it. The very first thing I do after I've set the camera up is go to and start level 1. And that's a world property that I have created, world method, sorry, that I have created. And let's go take a look at that. The way this little simple game that I've set up works is that you have to click on the chicken after the chicken tells you to click on him, and then the next level you have to click on the hare. Once you click the hare, then it tells you you won the game. What happens to show the fade in and fade out is that between each of those two levels, clicking the chicken and then level 2, clicking the hare, we have this fade in and fade out. So when the game starts, we've got the square being shown. You can't see anything else. I have the camera go ahead and turn and face the chicken. That means that square that's in front of it's going to do that as well. And then I'm going to do this fade in scene. Now I've put this on the square, and that method looks like this. As long as the property, the opacity of the square is greater than 0, the opacity runs from 1 to 0, then I want to decrease that opacity by 0.25, and I'm doing that for 25 seconds. I'm also having this print out to the window so that we can actually see what the value is as we see it fade in and out. Once that's done, in order to make the screen still interactive, I've got to move that square from in front of the camera to behind it. If I don't do that, the only thing I'm going to be clicking on is the square itself. So when I do the fade in screen, that is, make everything visible, after it's done, I move that camera 10 meters. When I say toward the camera, that means it's going to push it past the camera. So that worked for me. Once I do that, I'm waiting on this event to happen, for the chicken to be clicked. Now when the chicken is clicked, it says you've completed level 1. It then fades out the scene and starts level 2. The fade out is simply a reverse of fade 1. And you can get to that by going to the world and taking, the square, and then taking a look at the fade out scene. What it's going to do next is once it's faded out, it's going to turn, it's going to go to and start level 2. That is on the world. Go to the world, fade in and start level 2. I'm going to have that camera turn to the hare, but again, all I can see is the square. Then I'm going to fade in the scene, have the hare say click me. Once you click on the hare, the next method that's called is world in game. And all I do in that one is have the hare say you won and fade out the scene. And that's pretty much the end of the world. So let's play it and see what happens. So there we've got the square in front of us. We see the opacity going down. Now we can click on the chicken. He says I've completed level 1. Now it's fading out. Now I've got the hare in front of me saying click me. I click him. He says I've won. And it fades out again. And that's the end of the world. This has been a Professor Zelda video. Thank you.